Chris Rock gon' be the reason we gon' blow. Boom.
It's time for us to discuss best and worst collab. You came up with this section.
I did?
Yeah, I didn't.
You're right.
You came up with this section, so you go first because I don't know what's my best. No, I got best, but I don't have a worst. Full disclosure.
Gosh. I have a worst, but I don't think I have a best.
Go with your worst, and we can go with my best, and we'll call it one because we get to do that. Go for it. What's your worst collab?
My worst collab was Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick?
Like people like Kendrick
Lamar. You sure about this?
and
Speaker forever.
I mean, I had to upset everybody today.
Jeez, we doing it. Well, we don't know this best of gonna be contentious.
Yeah, like people are gonna like be like
these men don't know what they're talking about.
These men ain't know what they're talking about at
We
all.
know.
Yeah.
So talk to me, Kendrick and who?
Kodak Black on that song. Was it no Silent Hill?
The one that has one of the best beats.
One of the best beats on the album.
That's the one with the beat that has the silencer for the rifle.
Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, one of the best beats on the album.
Here? Beat ridiculous.
I just don't want to hear. I just don't want to hear Kodak Black. So I out here so like just opinionating everything.
You doing the most.
I'm doing the most. I'm doing the most. I don't want to hear Kodak Black.
Okay, so you're saying, did he rap anything? I'm trying to remember. Did he rap anything that was
I tried to listen to his. Not really. Not very much so. Not on Silent Hill. I tried it was like, I find it difficult to listen to him. I listened to the verse multiple times trying to really, get into, what's he saying here? Is there anything redeemable?
I know. Nothing redeemable.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
About your worst collab? I think that's a bit harsh for a worst collab. Because I guess I was thinking that you will go for somebody that's just like trash. I was thinking that you would say something by Lil Pump or, like, you thought that's where you were going with it. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I get you. I get why any association with Kodak. I get it. Because the song is a representation of who we know Kodak to be and who we thought Kendrick was. It's a manifestation of that clashing of...
I must admit, this song was a focal point of confusion for me on the album. I know that. I mean, the idea that we would place any type of pedestal beneath a human being in of itself is deeply flawed, because we are all walking bags of mistakes and incongruencies with good morals and just trying to hold it together. Yeah. Some of us doing a considerably good job of doing that,
and others doing a lesser
absolutely horrible job at the very end of the other side. So I mean, there is a lot to be said at judging someone about their decisions and what they do. But I can say that without judging the character of a person, I can say that certainly the things that they do or say have deeply deleterious effects. And I have not been particularly impressed with Kodak Black for a while. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong.
What does that have to do with Kendrick, though?
Exactly.
Our thoughts on Kendrick.
Exactly. So going to the other side of it, I've been struggling with Kendrick and my perspective of him for a long time. A long time. Yeah.
In secret, you never brought it to me because I didn't know that you felt this way about Kodak until this particular. I know you didn't really like to pimp. I know that type of thing, but not to this kind of level where like
Kendrick said something. It was a while ago now, and I remember that there was a time when I was a member of a different group where I argued with several people on the wall of that group about my upset with Kendrick at the time when he had made some comments in an interview about the way in which Afro-Americans don't respect each other, but then expect respect from police and or other races in response to it was Mike Brown. It was Michael Brown.
Right, that's the killing.
That was the name of the guy?
Police brutality. Is Mike Brown?
I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry that
there've been a lot.
I'm sorry that I don't remember, and I feel bad about that. Maybe we'll soundbite that in. Mm-hmm. The young man who had just I think stolen like a can of soda from a store and was walking down the street, apparently a tall young fellow, like 18 to 20 years old,
right?
And a policeman gunned him down in the street because the policeman claimed that when the boy came at him. He looked like the Incredible Hulk, and he was acquitted because the idea was that since the police feared for his life, he was shot. And so there was a lot of outrage over the killing of the boy because the boy didn't have any weapons on him. The policeman was armed. Something about the policeman still being inside his cruiser. There was a lot of confusion over it, and the boy's body's laying on the ground for hours in the sun. There was a lot going on, and it was around the time when that gentleman got strangled selling cigarettes on the street corner.
Right. Which is the one that Joy Badass made the short story about.
Right. So there were quite a few bits and pieces there, and it was during that time that there was all this conversation about police brutality, especially when police in America, our police departments are comprised predominantly of Caucasian males.
Yeah.
And all of the ties between police forces in America and how they originally started as slave recapturing gangs and a lot of stuff going on. And Kendrick Lamar gets and says that, well, you're killing myself one at a time, so how you expect them to respect us? And I was deeply upset at the comment because while people supported him in the comment, I thought that the comment was horrendously timed. I said, it should be my point was that it should be a persistent effort being made by any people to reduce violence and self-destructive behaviors within the communities of those people.
Yeah, for sure.
And Afro-Americans, no doubt, as many black people in post-colonial societies have, a lot of difficulty with, black people always trying to pull down one another and this and things of that nature. And if we know the history well and we understand the way in which trauma works and how you can have generational PTSD over things, then you can understand how the behavior of post-colonial peoples can seem so very horrible to each other, to themselves. And that's work we have to persistently do every day to improve our societies.
Right.
I just felt like he was out of line. Like, this is a situation where there is a ridiculous instance of police brutality. And so I felt like it was not good timing because because of the timing of the comment, it felt like it was very tone deaf in that it could be interpreted as a reduction of the responsibility for the act by the police in the situation. Like, yeah, the police kill the man, but one does be killing one another. So what do you expect?
But we always like to think that because a person is lyrical or that they may say something in a moment that makes sense, that they're now the power, the higher authority to speak on certain things. There's a weight that comes with that, which I guess is part of what the album is about. So you could argue that his inclusion of Kodak Black is a big FU to you and I.
Fine. I mean, I maybe I talked a bit too long there, but as usual. But I'm just saying that just because a rapper is associated with conscious hip hop does not mean that their consciousness about an issue is going to be agreed with by everyone.
Agreed.
And certainly, I have not agreed with many a thing that Kendrick has said, as lyrical as he is, and as pleased as I am that he talks about things other than the usual garbage. The usual trait. So I love him for talking about other things. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with the other things he always says.
That was your
worst collab. What's your best collab?
My best collab. I'm happy to say I can lift this podcast back up because you got down in the doldrums. Sadness.
Listen to me, then. This ain't about sadness. This about depth. Depth. But we finding gems down in these depths.
In these depths, man.
Go ahead. Shine some sunlight.
So and this might be recency bias, but my best collab for the year is Science Class. Busta Rhymes, Raekwon, Ghostface Killer, and West Side Gun. Listen to the album!
Oh my gosh.
Listen to me.
Listen to the album.
Before we leave here, I'm going to hold him down and force him to listen to this song. Bro, it is nuts. You hear who I call on that?
Busta Rhymes.
Raekwon.
The chef.
Ghostface Killer.
Okay. Iron Man himself. And West Side Gun. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Real good. I mean, why is it the best collab?
Because it's a perfect. Okay, so for me, the only thing that would have made that collab any better is to have Lupe on it and Andre 3000. That is a dream collab. Like
Fair
you
enough.
got like Elder Statesman, you got men that come after that. You got West Side Gun, which is like a newer cat. Like, dude, when Busta start the track, when Busta starts like his voice on the track, I was like, what? But no, that by far is my favorite for sure.
Fair enough. What about collabs that we like? Take for instance, there were some big, like some collabs that everybody was freaking out over, like J. Cole's collab with Benny.
That was this year, right?
What was it? Johnny P's Caddy?
Johnny P's Caddy.
Yeah, that wasn't this
That
year.
was this year? I don't know. Honestly, listen, there's so much music. It might be this year, huh? If it's not, don't hold us. But yeah, big. But Benny he get bullied on that trap, B.
Yeah, well, of course he did.
He got bullied on that trap. Like,
So the collab has to have, you have to be holding your own in the collab, yeah? Yeah.
for it to be good, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, for it to be good. So every person that I called on that song science class
Yeah.
held their own right
They
through.
did what they were supposed to do.
Right through. See that Raekwon? Oh my god, man, Raekwon Ghostface. You know how Ghostface is coming. Oh, I could just see the chain now. I could just see the chain now, me. Like if I bust on the door, start running. So good.
All right.
No, there were some really, really good collabs.
So I'll go first. I think that, best production is difficult.
Very difficult. And you got to give your reasons why it's best production.
Well, I'll
That's
let
the
you
hardest part.
give the criteria for what the production is.
Right. Okay. All right. No problem. When I think best production, I actually think it is about the beat, not just the beat itself, but how the actual music sounds. For instance, let me give an example. Tyler, the creator, had "Call Me If You Get Lost," and my biggest challenge with that entire album was that even though the beats were good, the production wasn't the best because it felt like you could not listen, you could not turn your set, your car, your radio up to all. It sounded very tinny. It sounded like it had a lot of treble and stuff like that. Like you can like crank it up and listen to it. The bass didn't sound low. It just sounded muddy. I guess that'll be the term that you would use.
Yes, and I felt like production on Lupe's album felt similar to.
Yes.
Not
quite the same.
There was one of the difficulties I had with Tyler's production is that the production values on the album is that Tyler has a very deep kind of
His voice.
Stealth frequency kind of voice, and that type of voice needs to be paired with music and production that allows you to hear him.
Yeah.
And there were so many songs that
as
were
I
so
cranked
difficult to
it-
hear.
as I cranked it up to hear him,
then everything just got
like-
so loud.
Nah, it was too much.
It was too much.
It was really, really too
It was
much.
difficult. One of my difficulties with Lupe's album is that some of the production just sounded fuzzy to me. I don't know how to explain it.
So for me, production would be a combination of the beat itself and that production value. How that actually comes over to the listener.
I'm not sure if I'm going to agree with how you have put that together because I feel like those things need to be pulled apart. Because
No. How?
Because
How? You can have a beat that is a good beat but sound bad.
listen. I'm saying right, exactly. Well, right. That's my whole point.
So the two have to go together.
Tyler had really good beats on the album,
But bad production.
But bad production.
Right, correct. So he won't rate high end the production.
Fair enough.
That's how
you're doing it.
Right.
Well, then
You have two different scores, so you have like one for like best beat and then one for best production, and the two aren't one and the same.
No, thankfully both of them are the same.
So okay, we're great. That works. So okay, so you want
Best
me to go?
production is got to be
Uh-huh.
It's Almost Dry by Pusha T.
Wait, so you talking about album, the entire album?
B. Sir.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a beat on that album that annoys the heck out of me, but as an overall project, some of the best production I've heard. That's just me.
Wow.
That's just me. I
Wow.
think that stuff is amazing. special mention for Open Ear. Song Open Ear by
Song
Pusha
Open
T.
Ear? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, B. Cool. Amazing stuff.
Listen, do you listen to music in your car or on headphones?
I listen to music in my car.
In your car. I listen
predominantly.
Right.
Otherwise, I listen to it via my soundbar.
Via soundbar, right. Okay, well, that'd probably be a good way to gauge. I listen through my AirPods. So, like, I listen for what's at the front, meaning, like, you know, you'd hear the bass, you'd hear the hats, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But then it's all the other nuances.
The other things.
You understand?
And I have realized that there is unfortunate. I listen to most of my music in the car, and though my car has a really good system, there are things that I miss. Sometimes when I listen to that stuff,
you'll miss it.
When I listen to that stuff on the soundbar, I'm like,
wow,
oh my gosh, where was that? And the beat just kind of opens up.
Correct.
But it's interesting that you say that, because your close second for production is Kendrick Lamar's album.
Yeah.
I didn't like the beats on Kendrick Lamar's album.
You don't like the beats?
No.
I found them to be so interesting.
Nah. I was like, whatever.
I found them to be so interesting.
I did not like that sonically. I did not like that album sonically. People must be freaking out.
I even like what I really like about Kendrick's album is that, you know, like similar to like when you're watching a movie, you know, to make sounds, like if you're watching an anime or a movie, to make the sound of people running, let's say an anime, of people running through a forest, there would be these Foley artists that would actually do certain things, beat drums, be like this, and, you know, to mimic all those things.
Yeah.
There were things in his music that made me feel that way. It made me feel like he went out of his way, or whoever did produce the beat went out of the way to create these spaces, these musical pockets of like, boop, 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 like all these different sounds and layers. It wasn't just a beat. It felt theatrical.
Understood. And I guess I can get that. And I mean, and maybe that's something about the greater simplicity of my boom bap ear. Because I mean, if you think about it, like there is, which is interesting, because it's not that I don't like beat complexity. I just really didn't dig the melodies on his album. Like, I don't like, if I was going on beats alone. So we're not talking about production values here now. I'm not talking about beats alone.
We're talking about beats, yeah.
If we were talking about beats alone, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers would not chart for me at all. I just wasn't intrigued by the beats on that album at all. And I can give its kudos for those production values that you're talking about, because I've heard that.
Right.
I can hear that. But the beats didn't faze me.
If I was going beats alone, Her Loss. Some of the best beats I've heard in a long time.
That's fair.
Long time.
You know what? You know what was a close second for one of the best beats I've heard?
This year? Okay, hit me.
Sticky by Drake.
Beat crazy.
Beat crazy. So yeah, that's best. That's my worst. We talk about worst yet?
Worst beat? Yeah, my worst beat.
Worst production.
Worst production, not worst beat. I don't think it's a bad beat, but worst production. Poland by Lil Yachty. But it's on purpose though. To be fair.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. I took a walk
to Poland.
I'm leaning. I'm drinking. Boom, 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 boom.
Love it. But
yeah. Production value is trash. Oh man. All right. And so to wrap it all up, SP Gravel. Now is when we get to do our review on our yearly listening. So now the proof is in the pudding. So we always talking about how you don't listen to this and don't listen to that. Da, 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 da. So what the hell are you listening to? Now we get to see. Let's hear it.
This is going to surprise you.
Okay.
But I listened to her the most this year.
Her.
H.E.R.
Wow. Are you serious?
I dived into her discography. I'm a big fan of her. And I think that's what really and truly, because I mean, I would have listened to one albums of other persons.
Yeah.
But I listened to everything that I could find.
So she's had what? 4 albums, 5 albums.
About that.
Wow, so much work.
Yeah, so much work over the last like 5 years.
She's a singer, songwriter, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And
singer songwriters always have the best albums.
She has sung about, her music is great in that she sings about really true things that are happening between persons.
Singer songwriter.
In terms about the way that they connect in love.
Yep.
Relationships, interactions. Amazing stuff. You know, she would have won a Grammy for most impactful song. I think it was when she sang that song that was related to the George Floyd.
Yes, I do remember
protest
that.
about 2 years back or so.
Yeah,
already
2 years. 2 years already.
It was last year.
I think it was last year.
So like,
I got fact check it.
Yeah. So like, she's an amazing artist to me. I really loved her work. I was less impressed with her last album, Back of My Mind, because I felt like it was some of her most generic work to date.
Right.
I began to wonder if she had run out of material. It was amazing. It was probably one of her longest albums. There were a lot of songs on it, and I just did not enjoy it because I did not find the music as deep and the melodies as unique.
It's interesting because I am very much of like the Sade school of thinking.
Meaning?
An artist, you're familiar with Sade, right? Let's move up, read it, right? You don't have to put out a body of work constantly. Like, I prefer when artists take their time to live their lives and then sing, write, create about said life. If you're putting out music year after year after year, eventually you're going to be running out of things to say. For all we know, those previous albums that you like from her were probably things that were written from years ago for life experiences that she's had, right? So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that maybe we live in a world where, you know, they're under contract and they got to produce X many albums.
So you're talking about Maxwell. You're talking about, you know, Maxwell.
The Maxwells.
Yeah, the Maxwells and the Sades.
Of the world, yeah.
Yeah. That they drop one album in 10, 15 years and everybody freaks out and then they
loses their mind. But
they go back to their life.
And then, then they live life and then they experience things to then create about again.
Yeah.
I think that there's more to be said for that than the, you know, this kind of like cookie cutter.
I mean, you could consider that maybe she made the last album more because I mean, after all, that was the album that had on, I think, her most charting collabs. Like she had that one with YG, I believe it is. Mm-hmm.
She collabs with a lot of people too.
She does. I mean, you know how it is. She had her corny rapper.
Corny rapper.
Yeah, her corny rapper. Serving with Corday.
Oh boy, don't do that. Don't do that to Corday. I like Corday.
I kind of like him too.
Nah, man. Nah. We need more Cordays.
I mean,
we need more Cordays.
I shouldn't be dissing Corday because I mean he's great for the culture. He really is. But I don't know. I mean, Cordays, you know, man. I get bored listening to Corday albums. I don't know. We'll talk about that another time. I think we talked about it already. The point is, that's what I would listen to mostly this year.
Any other notable standouts that you've listened to?
I would say that interestingly, I didn't talk about my best collab earlier.
Okay.
But the song that I listened to the most this year was a song called Wraith by Chance the Rapper, Vic Mensa. That song is hard.
Just a throwaway single? Just a throwaway.
Yeah.
Just a throwaway single.
Yeah.
Vic Mensa, man.
And Chance. So that would be my best collab.
That'd be your best collab.
That would be my best collab.
All right.
What about you? So rap yours. I know that was really quiet and say, oh my God, that's what he did, you know.
I know. My most listened to artist, I'll tell you my most listened to, I guess maybe one of the same, right? My most listened to artist for 2022 has been Rima. Familiar?
Yeah, of course. Afrobeats.
So I don't know what happened, but like I just became so obsessed with Rima and his approach to music. So the album is called Rave and Roses. So his attempt was to take Afrobeats music and I don't want to say poppify it, but like You know, you have like more traditional African music, and then there's a space in there where it's like they have like rave music, like all out rave music, and then he says that he sits somewhere in between. This is what he has said.
Yeah.
And the music I just find to be soulful. It didn't get very good critical acclaim from, is it Pitchfork? I think it was Pitchfork. Someone did a deep dive on the album and they didn't give it very high marks, and I felt like it was because the person was white and they didn't get it. if I be totally honest, they were talking about, oh, you know, he's over sexualized this and these beats, and he leaves you wanting, and I'm like, yeah, you're white. You don't get culturally what this music means.
I mean, that may be quite possible.
You know, like we look at all,
and I hope that there are persons who understand that isn't a discriminatory thing that Trizale is saying. It may just be the fact of the matter.
It's just a fact. I think a lot of the times what is poured into the music because of where we come from, we can't really appreciate that.
Yeah. We talk about that as well, about things not resonating with us. Exactly, maybe it's not for us.
Exactly, right. All the time we say that. But just to give some testament to how huge his success has been, for his song Calm Down, he was actually able to attract a megastar like Selena Gomez, and she wanted to do the remix of Calm Down, which I hate, by the way, because I didn't like the fact that... I like the fact that he was exposed to a wider audience, because he did say that by doing that collab with her, it kind of like broke through, like brought him to a whole new audience, which is huge. Selena Gomez, the Taylor Swift audience, like people who pay mega bucks to see the artist that they love. But I didn't like it from the perspective that I felt like the video and the song watered down
what he is, what his sound is, the cultural aspect.
And I didn't appreciate that at all. But
to make it palatable for that other market,
for that, even like the video, usually, you know, Afrobeats videos are very like, they're bright, they're vibrant, all the colors, the way that they shoot the black people's skin, like you can see all the tones and the colors in our skin. And then when they shot the video for the one with her, it was bland. It was flat, almost as if like they were focusing on making Selena Gomez look as nice as possible, or to fit within her image and aesthetic at the expense of
Rima's.
You understand?
Yeah.
And I really didn't like that. Rima definitely was my most listened to. I think I listened to 2,836 minutes of Rima in 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
A lot.
Sir.
Because my second most listened to was actually Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale, and the Big Steppers.
You know what my second most listened to is?
What? Tell me.
Sabrina Claudio.
Like, look at us. I mean, like, so wow. Seriously, Sabrina Claudio?
You know, it's interesting because, you know, Trizale has always given me a lot of pressure for the amount of violent hip hop that I listen to. Gangster music. But the most listened to stuff, the stuff I listen to the most apparently, is stuff about love and relationships and connections.
Wow, look at that, folks.
I mean, you know,
Sabrina
on this
Claudio?
podcast,
seriously? Wow.
Yeah, on this podcast, I have talked about R&B a lot as well.
Yes.
We haven't lately. We've kind of pushed more into hip hop lately.
Yes,
but I mean, I listen to a considerable amount of R&B.
That's because we stopped doing plug-in, but in plug-in we would touch on other genres.
We were touching on other genres.
Guys, you tell us what you think. Would you like us to dive more into the R&B and Afrobeat space? If that's something you'd be interested in, let us know in the comment section down below.
Because one of the things that we used to do is that we wanted to, and this is an interesting segue that we have here, and I like it. Because one of the things that we used to do is that we wanted to enlighten persons to the kind of music that was out there, to new music. We wanted people like, hey, they said that this song was cool. Let's check out this collab. Let's check out this album. Let's check out these things.
For sure.
And so, you know, and that's why I never had a difficulty listening to obscure things, because I thought, well, through this, I'll let people know that I listened to this.
And it was good.
Homie.
And it was really, really good.
Yeah, this absolutely strange album, you know, like that person's like, what is this? And so finding the balance between there is the interesting part of it. So let us know if you're still interested in hearing about the wild and varied things that we listen to.
Because we listen to more than just hip hop.
But What?
As fate was have it.
As fate was have it, because we are lovers of music.
We just love music.
We just love music. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's it for 2022. Yeah. We might do a snippet of something somewhere. Who knows where we will pop up, right?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows where we'll pop up? But thanks so much, guys, from Trezale and SPG, Wireheadz Podcast.
We out.
We out.